Welcome to the must-see mid-season review of the Huddle House. You guys asked for it. We were one step ahead of you. We knew you guys better than you knew yourselves. We knew you wanted Sam Roberts on the show again, and you best believe me and Ty deliver. So welcome to the Huddle House once again, Sam Roberts.
Sam,
Thank you.
welcome back, baby.
Hey Sam, I have to say, man, I absolutely love the Huddle Buddies Twitter page, but it's been a little dark recently. I think you need to get your Schefter hat back on, get the insider knowledge of what's happening.
Yeah, maybe.
Get that thing back running up. I think I love the spicy Twitter gabs you had. So what we're gonna do on this show, Sam, is we're gonna kind of go over your preseason predictions for the rankings. We're going to sort of let you know how that person's actually performing and just kind of mention some notable trades, notable additions, what their team looks like now compared to what it looked like then, and just hear your feedback, man. It's been a lot of moves this season, man. Everyone's been trading. I mean, there's been like a blockbuster.
Well, it's fantasy football. If you're not going to trade, don't play.
So
I'm looking
most
at
of our teams don't look the same.
I'm looking at your rankings just from the preseason, and there were a lot of misses. There were definitely a lot of misses.
Well, I think it's not my fault as much as the people running these teams are, not living up to my expectations.
Well, that could be true too.
What Sam's saying is that his predictions were based on the current rosters, but everyone that's in last or whatever is just screwing up royally.
Yeah, user error, mismanagement.
So how do you want to do this?
Mike Browns.
Do you want to just start off with the actual rankings and say like who's in each spot and then go through what he said in the preseason?
I actually don't know who's in each spot.
Say a guy and then like have Sam predict where he thinks they're at now, like if he stands by it, and then let him know.
Well, how's he gonna know though? Does he have the rosters or no?
No, he doesn't have the rosters.
No, I don't.
Yeah, he has no way of knowing. You're right.
Yeah, just read who's first.
Let's just read it out. So last place, you predicted that Austin Underhill would be in last place, Sam.
Correct.
Last place is me.
That's old Barnes.
Uh-oh.
It's I'll explain why. So
Justin Fields is your quarterback.
Injuries. George Kittle goes down. Michael Thomas still isn't back. So I had some rough sledding as far as the injury department. Second highest points against in the league. And I've made some moves for the future, Sam, that I think will bode well for me in the long term that have not boded very well for me in the short term. For example, Dak Prescott is no longer on my team.
Yeah, I remember that. You called me to consult that trade.
Yeah, I was curious what you thought. I got Waddle and Fields and a couple other assets that I ended up getting Darnell Mooney out of. So, just kind of stack with Fields. So, the most notable trade I've done recently, Sam, I want your take on this, is I traded Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Laviska Shenault, and Gabe Davis away and got CeeDee Lamb, J.K. Dobbins, and a 2022 first-round pick.
Okay. I mean,
okay. I got a lot younger. That's kind of the reason I did it.
It's not a disastrous trade. It's a dynasty league, so I mean, getting younger is fine.
So, my roster now looks like Tannehill is my current starting quarterback, but I have Fields on the bench, just kind of waiting for him to. I mean, he popped this week, but waiting for him to pop more often.
And you know what? Here's the thing with Justin Fields. Matt Nagy was out with COVID, and Fields played very well.
He did. So that's
tell you something about Matt Nagy.
I think Fields is going to be solid. He just got bad coaching.
They fire Matt Nagy and bring in an actual football coach, or they fire Ryan Pace and bring in an actual general manager, the Bears will be okay.
Yeah. So I still have Ryan Tannehill. I still have Jonathan Taylor. I'm obviously not planning on moving him. Because of the JK trade and the fact he's out all season, I'm kind of having to scramble a little bit at my RB2 since I traded Mixon. So now I'm just kind of rocking with Boston Scott for the time being. I have CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, George Kittle should be back. Darnell Mooney, Rashad Bateman, and Michael Thomas are going to be kind of in the flex spots. Matt Gay's my kicker, and the LA Rams are still my defense. And then I have Hines and Gus Edwards notable, and Chris Evans as not Chris. Chris Evans isn't reg. Hines and Edwards are my handcuffs, pretty much. Thoughts?
You'll be all right in the future. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be much this year. It's a bit late for anything to really turn around for you.
Oh yeah, my season's over. I mean, I traded.
But I mean, 2 years down the road, it's all right.
And you're being too nice to me, man. You need to roast me a little bit.
I don't know. Mostly for your players. Just I mean, every game until last week, Justin Fields has looked like a bomb.
Yes.
So, I mean, Tannehill's he's good, I guess.
For me, it's just your insistence on not playing Fields and playing other mediocre quarterbacks instead. And I mean, because you're not winning games either way. So I mean,
oh no, I am. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
I just hate losing, and even though my pick is Lucas's anyway, and I don't really have anything to lose.
Oh, that is another thing.
And I'm not going in.
Sam.
What?
That is another thing of note is that Matt has traded his pick to Lucas, which is presumably going to be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Either one or two.
Man.
Either 1 or 2. It's going to be between him and Chris.
The reason why I did that is because that's what got me Diggs, Sam. I got Diggs from
Okay.
I got Diggs from Lucas for my pick, which at the time I didn't know was going to be number 1. I ended up it's going to be number 1 because I traded for JK, but before that, I was thinking if I got Diggs, I might be like kind of middle of the pack. So I didn't think it was gonna be the number 1 pick. But I traded Devonta Smith and the first pick or my first round pick for Diggs.
And well, I mean, to be fair, I don't think the first round is this first round in the rookie draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, next year's draft class is going to be historically bad. So.
Presumably, we don't really know.
Players, but there'll still be a running back in a good spot that you'll want to have at that
Maybe point. You'll want Isaiah Spiller or Kenneth Walker, wherever they end up.
Yeah, there'll be somebody there. There'll be a good running back there to take, most likely, I would say.
All right, so moving on. Number 13, Sam, you had Brandon. Number 13 is actually Traigner.
Originally, you had it number 4.
Traigner at 2.
Yeah, you had Chris at 4, which, to be fair, wasn't the worst look in the world at the time. But he's been kind of hurt by injuries, and now he's lost Derrick Henry. He actually traded.
Derrick Henry being out for the season is a killer.
He traded DeAndre Hopkins earlier this season to James, and he traded Aaron Rodgers to me earlier this year. So he's kind of shifted around his team a good bit.
We're going to the rebuild here, like the.
I'm not sure exactly the entire.
Well, I told you about
Yes, at this point he is. I traded Russell Wilson for Aaron Rodgers in a first because he was out and I needed to get some wins.
Hold on, Ty. Before you go any further, I just noticed that under your lamp on that pedestal is your Emmy award, and I really think that's great. Just casually, you have your Emmy sitting there.
Oh yeah, he flexes it. I would too.
I would too if I won an Emmy. I'd flex it everywhere. Hi, I'm Ty Shad. I won an Emmy.
Yeah.
That should just be his Twitter bio. Like just make it
front and center.
Make it your profile picture, Ty.
We're talking about fantasy football now.
Yeah. But I'm just kidding. Yeah. But yeah, Chris, he traded D Hop. I think I told you about it, Sam. He traded him for a first round pick, James Conner. A 2023 first, James Conner, Devontae Parker, and what was it? Something else, like a second, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it was some capital, and then James Conner was the main piece.
The lobster. Well, I think there's some personal bias there in that trade. If Traigner has given something to James.
Well, I think to talk about here is you had Brandon ranked 13th, and I know a lot of people were kind of sleeping on his team because he drafted running backs that were hurt and a lot of young players. But he's actually sitting here at 3rd, actually this season. He's 6-2. And mostly it's been because Jamar Chase has been incredible. And he got some great value there. And also Josh Allen's been really good. He hit on a lot of picks. So he's up there at third and is a surefire playoff team, especially after doing the trade with Matt to get Diggs and Mixon. So his team is pretty loaded. And he's definitely looking at, a top seed in the league. So it's so funny that you never really know what things are going to look like, especially with these.
I don't know. I guess I don't know. I had to put him there because, rookies are a big question mark coming into to the league, but the trades he's made have worked out.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people felt that way. He drafted Dobbins and ETN, who are both going to be out for the whole year. He really didn't have any running backs. So,
we all thought he was going to be definitely a front runner for last place. We all thought that after draft night because he was starting Singletary and Coleman as his running backs. But he got crazy production out of his receivers. And Noah Fant's been good at tight end. Josh Allen's been great at quarterback. And he's just kind of made it work with running backs like Darrell Williams and Khalil Herbert. Just kind of had some guys on his bench that just sort of fall into starting roles. It was kind of fortunate for him too.
Yeah.
But
we go ahead, Matt. Where were you taking it?
Yeah, I was going to say number 12, Sam, you had Jeremy, and number 12 is actually the guy you predicted to be number 1, and that's Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I blame that on complete ineptitude on the part of the owner.
Ooh. He's had some pretty rough luck. Chris Carson's been hurt for a lot of the year. DJ Chark's hurt, and then just kind of inopportune, poor performances from players. But
Gibson has been a massive letdown so far this season, and that was his first-round pick. So
Antonio Gibson. I've got him in the second round of my personal fantasy league, and not a big fan. Not a big fan of anything Washington's doing right now.
He's kind of injured throughout the. Kind of been injured, and his snaps are down to like 33%. It's been really low lately, but he doesn't really play passing downs either. It's just a tough situation. They don't really have a quarterback, so they're just bad this year. They're just a bad team.
He did have one steal in a trade, Sam, that he got. Really good deep threat, Henry Ruggs.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so he's.
Oh my Lord. Well, congrats on having a guy who's never going to play snap pro football again.
Yeah, we're in the league chat today, and the news breaks, and everybody's kind of like, "That's horrible! Like, so tragic, so sad. That's devastating." The praying hands, and then you just see Marcus McCleary put a player on the trade block. Henry Ruggs pops up there.
Bro, it's like, Marcus, cut it out, bro. He's never afraid to make a joke. Now, the jokes got a little bit more acceptable. Well, not acceptable. I don't know if acceptable is the word, but like people started laying into him a little bit more after we found out it was a DUI and that it wasn't just some crazy tragic accident. Like people were like a little bit harder on Ruggs after that. But
he's going to prison for 10 years.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, before, but Marcus put him on the trade block before we even knew that it was because of a DUI. Like, and Marcus, like, just thought it was a tragic accident, and he still puts him on the trade block. And I'm like, dude, chill.
So that's gonna hurt his team. It's kind of just underperforming problem is what he's been dealing with, and injuries. But Marcus is in our 12th spot. At 11, this was also a big miss. You predicted Jake to finish there. He's currently our number 1 seed and has dominated in a lot of ways to get there. He's got the most points scored, 7-1. He's been pretty unstoppable this year, and done it really on the wings of really good play by Tom Brady and DK Metcalf, and just he hit on a lot of guys. Like he has Antonio Brown, who's been good when he's been healthy.
Austin Eckler.
Yeah, Austin Eckler's been good. Javonte Williams has looked pretty good in his limited snaps, and that are only going to probably keep going up. So he kind of hit it there, and is our number 1 seed, and has looked very good so far. So that was a miss. Actually, at number 11 is Austin.
Sam predicted him to be last. So you weren't too far off there, Sam. You had him at 14. He's at 11. You want to know how many trades Austin's made, Sam? Yep, correct. He is nothing really to say about his team. It's still.
Why are you playing fantasy football?
What?
Well, you don't have to make trades, man.
I know it just takes the fun out.
You don't have to. I'm just talking about what each team looks now different than previously. I'm not bashing it. I'm saying that we're talking about what's different at the midseason. I'm just saying his team's the same. He's rocking with Najee, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen. Had some really bad, unfortunate news this week about Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He's got it rough with Calvin Ridley right now, who's just stepping away from the game for who knows how long. So, I mean, that was a second-round pick. That's a brutal blow.
I will say that Najee Harris has played a lot better than I thought he would going into this year. Pittsburgh's lack of O-line and a quarterback hasn't really hindered him. He's going to be a good player.
Yeah, he's been very good. He's been very good. And Keenan Allen's been kind of disappointing. He finally came around last week and had a more normal Keenan game, but he's been slow to get started, it seemed.
It's just kind of been like the Mike Williams show. Mike Williams and Eckler. I think Keenan's almost taken like a back seat in a way.
The Chargers have been kind of up and down. They've lost a few games here that I thought they would have won.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd lose to the Patriots at home.
Yeah, so it's, but yeah, that is our 11 seed there that you had predicted, Jake, who is number 1. Number 10, where'd we go after that one? Who was after that, Matt?
Number 10, he had Carter Ferguson, who's actually currently the number 2 team in the league.
Yeah.
So
very nice.
And we'll get to Carter's a little later, but the actual number 10 right now is Jeremy McCleary, who you had at number 12, Sam. So not too far off. Jeremy's made some minor moves, but for the most part, his team is pretty much rock solid with what he's had. Trying to think if he's had any significant trades. His biggest trade, I think, was he traded away Kenny Golladay and a 3rd-round pick for Robbie Anderson and Ramondre Stevenson.
Don't know if anybody's really won that trade yet.
I mean, no one won that trade. Galladay's going to miss most of the rest of the season with an injury.
That's the giant.
Well, and Robbie hasn't done anything. So
and then Robbie Anderson hasn't done anything, and then Ramondre Stevenson isn't even really getting snaps.
Yeah.
So.
But one thing that's been really nice for Jeremy, so Jeremy's biggest struggle, I guess, going into after the draft was running back because he had Miles Sanders as his RB1, and I think he was kind of picking on Michael Carter to be his RB2, but obviously Miles Sanders has been a massive letdown this year, but he's had great.
I think isn't he on the IR now?
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
But you also got to remember he's got Elijah Mitchell. That was a great game.
Elijah Mitchell's been great for San Francisco this year.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say, Jeremy, one thing that's been nice for him is he's had Leonard Fournette step up, actually had become pretty fantasy relevant, and Elijah Mitchell step up. And now Michael Carter's kind of looking like,
yeah.
That was his first great game, Michael Carter.
Yeah,
well, they threw the ball to him so much. They didn't throw a ball 10 yards down the field all game. It was just check down. But also Jeremy's wide receivers have been awesome. Like that was the strength of his team on draft night, and you saw the potential whenever they all hit like they did last week. And I mean, he hung like 160 points, and he had AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, and Amari Cooper. I think they were all in the 20s. I mean, that's an explosive team, and he's kind of got off to a tough start with some bad luck, but 3-5, and I don't think he's a team you can rule out of sneaking in there to the back end of this playoff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his points for this season, and they're not the highest, but they're kind of like middle of the road. Like he's put up some really high points totals and had some amazing weeks. This has been kind of hindered by Miles Sanders' horrible productivity, and also like AJ Brown really hasn't been very good for the majority of this season.
Yeah,
he's finally getting it going.
He's waking up a little bit. But yeah, and then to Carter's team, let's just talk about that because that's what you predicted, 10. He's actually number 2. He just hit on some receivers, man. Like Deebo Samuel has been incredible this year. DJ Moore also been really good. Had Devontae Adams, but he and I did a trade just last week. Sam and I got Devontae Adams from him I got Devontae Adams, Kadarius Toney, and Rondale Moore for Michael Pittman, Deontay Johnson, and a couple picks.
A first rounder and a second rounder.
That's a blockbuster deal right there. Those some good fantasy players this year.
Yeah, it was a big trade with a lot of moving pieces, and it cost me a win last week, but and it led to him knocking off James. So, but you can't look at trades in a microscope. I did that trade with my eye on a championship, not a regular season win. But I understand you got to get those to get to the championship. But I think I will still.
Yeah. So now Carter's rocking with Derek Carr as his quarterback, Ezekiel Elliott, Damian Harris as his running backs, Deebo Samuel, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, and Deontay Johnson as his receivers, Dalton Schultz at the tight end. So, yeah, I mean,
he's also got Gronk he's waiting to get healthy.
Yeah, he's got Gronk on the bench. And Myles Gaskin's also on his bench, and he plays sometimes in his flex. So
and Gronk had 4 touchdowns in 2 weeks to start the season. Then he's been hurt pretty much every game since. So that's a huge piece he's missing. It's really the quarterback for him. I mean, he's got Derek Carr that I guess he's going to be riding here, but he's also got Teddy B and Matt Ryan. He's actually got to drop a quarterback or do something with one of them because he's got 4 on his roster right now. He's got Derek Carr, Teddy Bridgewater, Matt Ryan, and Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Make a move there. So
yeah, moving forward, number 9, you predicted Ty, Sam. You bashed old Ty. Ty's sitting at 7, so Ty's overperforming your expectations a little bit. Number 9.
I'm within the margin of error there.
4 and 4 right now. In that playoff hunt, just trying to string a few together here and supplant myself back up in there, but not really concerned about exactly seeding. I just want to be one of those top 6 teams and make the playoffs. And as long as I'm in position to do that, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, you're definitely in the hunt. And I think most of the guys in the league, Ty, would probably, they had to guess the playoffs. I think they'd probably have you in there with what you built with your roster. So you're in good shape. But number 9, we actually have Jordan, Sam. You predicted him to be 3rd in the league. I don't think there's been any major moves involving him. I wouldn't say blockbuster, but one great trade he made, Sam, is early in the season he traded away Juju Smith-Schuster to Carter, and in return he got Hollywood Brown.
Yeah,
who has been phenomenal this season.
Oh man, he played him.
I think he also landed Cordero Patterson in a trade from James.
He did. Yeah, he also got Cordero,
which was a really good trade. I mean, he gave up James Conner to get him, but.
Hey, Patterson's playing all right. He's also on my Madden Ultimate team, and he's good on Madden.
He's been amazing this year. Here's his point totals: 7, 21, 13, 32, 14, 13, 15. Like, he's consistent as all get out.
He's good.
And he's also got Alvin Kamara, but you do kind of worry about Alvin now with no James
gone.
Taysom takes over that quarterback spot. We saw how that afflicted him last year in terms of
the other guy, Simeon. Isn't he going to be the quarterback in New Orleans now?
I don't know. I guess they got to see if they can get Taysom healthy or not. But
I think Taysom has priority if he's healthy, just because of
experience. He's been in that role before.
Yeah, we'll see. But his team, he stayed pretty solid. Made a few really great moves, and he's had Jerry Jeudy on IR most of the season, so he's coming back too. So that's nice for him.
He's also had it rough, man. He's put up a lot of points.
He has. His points total.
A lot of points. He's got a whole lot of points against. I think the most in the entire league. Yeah. No, other than you, Matt. Other than you, you have. Me and
Jeremy are both above him.
Oh, and Jeremy, I forgot. I didn't see him.
Yeah, I go up against a 130 scorer every single week. It's just very consistent. I can bank on it. So that bodes well for you, Tykes, and enjoy your 140 point win this week.
That'd be double what I had this week if that
was. So number 8, you predicted Lucas.
On the month.
This is the only one you actually hit on, Sam. You predicted Lucas at 8. Lucas is currently at 8.
Yeah, I got one right.
Yeah.
He's made some moves this year.
Yeah, I've thought Lucas out. I figured him.
Well, obviously the Diggs trade was his big one, but he's also just kind of been he drafted some guys who have kind of surprisingly underperformed, like Allen Robinson in the 3rd, I believe, and then Ayuk. I think he went Allen Robinson in the 3rd, and then Ayuk in the 4th. So talk about
Probably the two biggest receiver disappointments in all of fantasy this season, and unfortunately, Lucas has both of them.
I mean, that was
Brandon Ayuk. I had high expectations for that guy, and he has done nothing.
It's a brutal swing that he had there, and
he was really good last year as a rookie.
It certainly cost him some of these games. Now he does have Cam Akers on the bench or on the IR for next.
He'll be back.
He traded he got Juju Smith-Schuster on his IR, and he also is stocked up on draft picks. He has 2 first-rounders next year, including Matt's.
Those are probably picks like 1 in probably 4 or 5. Like him, he's gonna have 2 really solid picks.
He has 2 firsts in 2023 and 2 seconds in 2023. He has Matt's first and second first for 2022, second for 2023. But he's got a lot of draft capital there. And so he should be in a spot to have some pretty good running backs because he's also got Saquon getting healthy, and he'll have Cam Akers whenever he comes back next year. And he also has Jeremy McNichols, who may have a bigger role now with Derrick Henry being out.
Yeah, with Derrick Henry out, he or Foreman are probably going to be the main running backs in Tennessee.
So despite all that, he's still 4-4 and firmly in the playoff hunt. I mean, he's competitive. Jalen Hurts has been a really good fantasy quarterback. The main concern is if he's going to lose his real-life job or not.
Yeah, and also definitely don't want to forget Mike Williams either. Mike Williams might be the best pick he made all draft. I mean, he's had a few down here recently, but for the most part, Mike Williams has been really good this year.
Yeah, Mike Williams playing like he did back at Clemson this year.
As the Chargers
flash of greatness.
He's slow.
Yeah, you are right though. Mike Williams has slowed down a little bit. We'll see if he can get it back. But number 7, Sam, you picked Mitri, and we already said number 7 is actually Ty. So, Ty's made some splashes. I gave him what I figured would be kind of like a late first, several weeks ago for Mooney because I wanted to stack him in Fields because I'm a big Mooney believer. Not everyone is, but I am. So that was a nice move for Ty because he got some more draft capital,
which helped me get Devontae Adams.
Yeah, you used Mitri's first to in the deal to get.
No, Carter took my first. He slapped me in the face and took my first. Said that he.
Oh, you're right.
He said, "I'm gonna do this trade with you, and you're gonna finish worse because of it. I'm not taking Mitri's pick. I'm taking yours." So.
Yeah, that's forgot about that.
Well, extra fuel on the fire. I haven't forgotten that.
So yeah, the Devontae deal and the Aaron Rodgers deal were kind of your 2 highlights, though. So yeah, you got Devontae Adams, 2 young receivers who didn't have very good weeks this week, but just hopefully
a lot of upside. They have a lot of upside.
Yeah, hopefully they.
I agree. And to be fair, Devontae Adams, he missed with.
He's the best.
COVID.
He's the best,
and he's the best wide receiver in the league right now.
And Mitri is actually in the 5th spot. And he's made quite a few moves. I mean, we could talk about his team for a little bit because none bigger.
Go to Las Vegas makes sense. He'd be wheeling and dealing.
None more important than his drafting of Cooper Kupp, the number 1 overall fantasy player in the whole league this year. It's been incredible.
Deal of the draft for sure. Well, him or Jamar Chase, but at the value
it's Cooper Kupp. It's
got to be Cooper.
His lowest. Last week, he had his lowest amount of targets in the whole season. Guess how many it was? 9.
Oh,
9 was his lowest amount of targets the whole year. That's absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. He's got touchdowns in all but 2 games. He has 4 multi-touchdown games. There's no way this is sustainable. But, I mean, it's not slowing down yet. So that was huge. And he also traded for Dak. He made a trade for –
he just got Darren Waller.
Darren Waller recently. So he's got a lot of pieces there. Doesn't have a first-round pick in 2022 or 2023. He does have 2 seconds next year. So he's clearly in win-now mode. That draft capital doesn't mean as much. And he's got a pretty competitive roster. So definitely looking like he's a playoff team.
Yeah, Sam, curious what you actually think about that trade. He traded Lucas, he gave him David Montgomery and a first-round pick for Darren Waller.
Ooh, that's a lot for Waller. I do like tight ends.
Well, he's a Raiders fan, so a little bit of hometown or home.
I mean, David Montgomery, he's going to come back, and I don't know, because Khalid Herbert's been really good for Chicago.
He has. I definitely think Herbert will still have a role, but I don't see Montgomery getting phased out much. I mean,
no, he's still a very talented running back when he's healthy.
Well, let's keep cooking through these things. We're at number 6.
We actually skipped number 6. Number 6 right now is the guy you put at number 2, Sam, and that's Caleb Weiland.
You predicted James. You predicted James there, who actually
James there.
is number 4 right now.
Well, Caleb it's another case of gross incompetence on behalf of a Weiland / McCleary.
I don't think you can really say that about his team though, because he hasn't really made any moves, Sam.
He started off the year 4-0, and now he's 4-4. He's lost 4 straight. He has his whole lineup on his bench right now, and
he's the Denver Broncos.
Oh no, he put his whole roster on his bench because he had an absolutely gutting loss this week. I mean, I really did feel bad for him. He lost by 0.3.
Yeah, 3 yards, and he had Mahomes. All he
3.
needed was a little better game from Mahomes, and he couldn't get it.
He was playing. It was Monday Night Football. He had Mahomes, and he was going up against Darrell Williams, and all he needed was Mahomes to outscore Darrell Williams by 2 points maybe.
Yeah.
And I think Darrell Williams outscored Mahomes.
Yeah, gut wrencher. It sure was.
It was rough. So he kind of got mad, put his whole lineup on his bench. So next week he's projected to lose 53-0.
One of the things we were questioning about his decision was stacking as much or investing as much as he did in the Bucs wide receiver core with Godwin and Evans, and it's paid off in dividends for him. I mean, Godwin's a number 7, and whenever Mike Evans scores a touchdown, he usually scores at least 2 more. So I mean, it was a smart decision. It's worked out. But we can keep moving here while we still got some time. Up to number 5.
Number 5 was Mitri. We just kind of talked about him.
Yeah, we've talked about him.
You originally put Matt there.
Yeah. So. Matt, man, I don't know. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
I'm building for the future.
And then
all right. I mean, we've heard that from the
Bengals.
No, from the Bengals, we just hear what's wrong.
Sam, trust the process.
No, building for the future. I feel like this is the Cleveland Browns every year.
Hey, it worked kind of for the Browns, and it sort of worked for the.
Yeah, Sixers. Now they're crap, and Baker Mayfield's a bum. But anyway,
the Bengals are going to be fine. We're still going to make the playoffs this year.
Absolutely.
Number 4.
You guessed Chris.
Yeah, number 4 is actually James. What did you say something?
It's actually the commish.
Yeah, Mr. Commish. You had him at 6. He's at 4, so pretty close there. James has made some big moves.
Yeah, he got DeAndre Hopkins for James Conner and some other pieces.
Yeah, he's been hurt by CMC. He's been injured all year. Raheem
had to be expected this
for a lot of the year. He made a splash because he originally had Darren Waller, and he traded him to Lucas for Darrell Henderson and Manuel
Zach Ertz.
A lot of pieces, and he kind of flipped him right away.
Yeah, it was.
And Darren Waller's been traded twice this season.
Henderson, Ertz, and Sanders. Oh yeah, Lucas traded for Waller, and then he traded him away the next day.
Yeah, Darren Waller's getting passed around more than Madonna.
Yeah, it was he was an eventful week for Darren Waller, but yeah, so he got Darrell Henderson trying to go full on win now mode. Darrell Henderson's definitely a win now player. Not that he's useless for the future, but once Akers comes back, he
will be a backup. Yeah, he will be a backup.
Yeah, so definitely going for this year. That's just probably that, along with the Hopkins trade, have kind of been his biggest splashes. But
yeah, the Hopkins trade. Yeah.
Yeah, he's sitting at number 4. Oh, one thing I will say about James is he traded Gaskin away early in the season for James Robinson, and that has been great for him.
Yeah.
James Robinson's having a good year. So
really good move there.
Yeah, number 3 is actually Brandon. We kind of mentioned him a little bit.
We predicted Jordan.
Yeah, we predicted Jordan, but yeah, Brandon's he got his running back one, Mixon, at least for this year. Diggs, you got Diggs now, got Jamar Chase, Fant's been playing decent. Josh Allen's having a great season. So Brandon's team is hitting on all cylinders. He even has some decent flex options. So with like Jacoby Myers and T Higgins, like he's Sam, you would love Brandon's team because he has T Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Mixon.
Yeah, 3 Bengals.
Yeah, absolutely love that team.
Cincinnati Bengals. He's investing heavy in y'all, so he might be more of a believer in the Bengals than the rest of us.
And then number 2 was your guess for Caleb. We already talked about that. C. Ferg up there this year right now at the halfway point. And then number 1, you picked Marcus, and that is currently Jake, the Power Scrubs. So that's kind of how things are shaking out so far. I think, it's funny to look back on how different the rosters are and how much trading we've done. For this being a league that has multiple years of implications, we've sure done a whole lot of trading in 8 weeks. I think something that stood out to me. We've done a lot of wheeling and dealing.
I mean, if you would have told me that in 8 weeks, the likes of Darren Waller, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, several first-round picks, Devontae Adams, if you told me all those pieces would be on different teams, I'd be like, yeah, no way.
I know, right?
So
it's crazy as things change, but
I'm just curious now that you kind of heard the rankings and what we've said about each team. Kind of what's your thoughts on the league, the standings? Who do you think's winning the chip this year based on what you've heard?
I don't know. I mean, Clark seems to have a pretty solid team. Jake Clark, that is. Brandon, this is a good team. He's got himself in position for a guy if I would be 13th in a 14-team league.
Yeah.
I think the top 6 are all legitimate contenders right now. I mean, obviously Clark has the advantage. His team looks and sounds pretty good. But I think anyone really of the top 9, I think not anyone can win the championship, but I think there's the 6 playoff teams. I think there's about 3 teams outside of that could push the playoffs, 7 through 9.
I'd agree. I think Jordan's
still a very competitive league this year. It's better than I thought it would be.
Matt, give me your midseason champion pick, and then I'll give you mine.
Oh, that's tough.
You want me to give you mine first, then?
Yeah, give me yours first.
Brandon.
Now I can't say Brandon. I was actually probably gonna say Brandon. I mean, I'm not even lying to you. I probably was gonna say Brandon, but just to be a contrarian, I think it's either Brandon or honestly, dude, I mean, your team has minor holes, but at the end of the day, I'll bet on Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Swift, Dalvin Cook, and Aaron Rodgers. Like that.
Okay.
That's got a real shot. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to obviously get to the playoffs, but that star power.
Gotta make it in.
You or Brandon, James definitely has a chance. Jake obviously has a chance, but I'm not gonna give him any compliments. So, I'm gonna go with you or Brandon at the moment.
I like it, man.
Dimitri's a sleeper too, though, because his team is getting better.
Agreed. We better wrap this thing up, man.
Yep. So it was a good show. Sam, thanks for being on.
Absolutely. Always glad to talk to you guys. I might have to fire up some tweets. I've been lacking on that. I've been busy with other things, but I'll get back.
I see you.